Hello everybody, we've got a new poll from the Old School RuneScape team, so let's go ahead and vote in this poll. So this is Old School Content Poll 31, Easter Holiday Event. So if you want to know what's planned for the Easter event, please click here for my dev blog video. So, question 1. For Easter 2015, should they release a holiday event where you rescue the Easter Bunny from rampaging critters that have hatched from its chocolate eggs? As a reward, you'd receive cosmetic bunny feet, plus all the old Easter holiday event items. I'm going to go ahead and vote yes, I really like that idea. Next, question 2. If question 1 passes, should they add a chocolate bunny reward pet in addition to the bunny feet costume? Players will be required to do a little extra activity to earn the pet after completing the main event. The pet will be available to members and non-members. Now I like the idea of having a small extension activity to get a little reward. RuneScape events have been known to have that in the past. I'm a little unsure about having this pet come into the game, especially if it's free to play. It will become the first free to play pet. However, I really kind of like the idea of a small chocolate bunny, and I'm sure after Easter passes, not many people will really have them, and if they do, they're not going to get in the way because there'll be so little of them around. So I'm going to vote yes on that. Question 3. Should the eastern wall of Edgeville Bank be opened up so players can walk to the new furnace more easily? So I've always been a little bit unsure with the Edgeville furnace. It's always been incredibly close to a bank, and it's had benefits such as making you get more bars when you're making them. So when it came to Old School, I quite liked the idea of it not being as close as it was in RS3, because you get that benefit of the extra bars, but you have to pay a small price of it being slightly further away. However, I'm a bit unsure if that reward is actually worth it when in Old School RuneScape we've got a bank at Blast Furnace, meaning that whenever you do have to smelt bars, you have to use half the amount of coal, which is probably much more beneficial than just having small chances of getting extra bars. So I understand the sort of fors and against of this, and I imagine this will pass. However, I'm going to be voting no on this. Next, question 4. Players can currently save up to 250 Void Knight commendations to spend on pest control rewards. Should they increase the limit to 4,000? Now I'm not really sure why that limit is currently there. I think in the past they've mentioned on their Q&As that it's just some kind of arbitrary thing that the original developer just put in. And I believe that some of the rewards are actually 250. So you'll probably be playing, have to get up to 250 and then buy your next thing. You can't just save up and buy the full set. However, increasing the limit to 4,000 sounds like a lot. However, I'm sure there's a decent reason for that, and I don't think it's going to affect the game too much. So I'm going to go ahead and vote yes. Next, question 5. Bert the Sandman will deliver sand to players' bank each day when asked. Should his timer always reset at midnight British time instead of being 24 hours after the last delivery? So I think this is actually a slightly better way of doing it, having it reset at a certain time every day, because it's still a 24-hour period. It's just that if you are a bit late one day or earlier, then it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and vote yes. Next, question 6. Juna allows players to access the Tears of Guthix once per week. Should her timer always reset at midnight British time instead of being 6 days and 23 hours after the last visit? So similar to before, this is so much easier to remember your Tears of Guthix, and you can go there slightly earlier or slightly later. Just makes it more convenient when you actually remember to go. So I'm going to vote yes on that. Next, question 7. Should shops that sell bone crossbow bolts also sell them in packs of 100? Now I don't think there are many shops that sell bone crossbow bolts, and I don't really know how popular bone crossbow bolts are, but it sounds like a nice sort of quality of life update, and if you are buying those, that will just make it a lot quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and vote yes. Next, question 8. When fishing at Otto's Barbarian fishing spots, if you have both feathers and offcuts in your inventory, should you automatically use the offcuts before using the feathers? So I don't know too much about barbarian fishing, but I just checked the Wikipedia page and it looks like offcuts are used as bait when you're doing barbarian fishing. And feathers are too. So effectively what this question is saying is, if you're using the barbarian fishing method and you have offcuts in your inventory, it will use them as bait before it uses feathers as your bait. So that sounds like a nice quality of life update, and I'm going to vote yes on that. Next, question 9. Should Rings of Recoil have a break option? By breaking a half-used ring, a player could ensure their next ring could be fully charged when entering a boss lair. Now that sounds like a nice quality of life update, and I've seen quite a few people requesting that on the forums, so I'm going to vote yes on that. Next, question 10. Should Crystal and Barrow's equipment have a check option to see how close it is to degrading? Now I know that they already kind of have a small check system. I believe Barrows goes, it says it's 100%, 75, 50, 20 and then 0 which is broken. And similarly with Crystal, you have new Crystal Bow or Shield, then it shows its fraction out of 10. Either way, this sounds like a nice sort of quality of life update, so you know if you're near 25 or if you're near 0. So I'm going to go ahead and vote yes. Next, question 11. Should the Motherlode mine be made larger, with more ore veins to mine? This would include a separate area that could be accessed only by players with level 72 mining who've paid a one-time fee of 100 nuggets. Now, I'm unsure about expanding the Motherlode mine. It is a huge mine. However, I have been there quite a lot, and I understand that it can get very busy. And seeing as old school RuneScape has been getting more popular, and that area can be horrible when it's really busy, I think that's quite a nice idea. Plus, I like the idea of having a sort of higher level mining area that you can get in if you've paid 100 nuggets, which is quite a lot of nuggets, so I think that would be quite a nice idea. So I'm going to go ahead and vote yes. Next, question 12. Should Ava have options for buying multiple devices at once without going through the dialogue repeatedly? Now, I thought we already had this, but I don't know. I've never really went and bought multiple devices. Clearly we don't have it because they are polling it, and it seems like a really nice quality of life update, so I'm going to go ahead and vote yes. And finally, question 13. Boss pets have pick up as their left click option, and talk to as their right click option. Should they swap these round so that players are less likely to pick up their pet by accident? So picking up your pet by accident can be a really big pain. So I think having the talk to option probably would improve that. However, I can imagine some players getting annoyed at when they accidentally click on their pet and then they just get the pet dialogue. But it's probably less of a pain just to move away from that than having to put the pet down again. So I'm going to go ahead and vote yes on that. Let's go ahead and vote, and we'll see what everyone else has been doing. Thank you for voting. So far we've had 10,535 votes. 93.5% of those want the 2015 Easter event to be the one that they've discussed in the recent developer blog. 69.9% want a chocolate bunny pet as a reward from the Easter event. 85.2% want the eastern wall of Edgeville Bank to be opened up so players can access the new furnace more easily. 89.7% want to save up to 4,000 Void Knight commendations at Pest Control. 82.1% want Bert the Sandman's timer to reset at midnight every day instead of being a 24-hour period. 80.6% want Juna's timer to reset at midnight every week instead of being a 6-day and 23-hour period. 88.8% want shops that sell bone crossbow bolts to sell them in packs of 100. 87.2% want offcuts to be prioritised over feathers when using barbarian fishing spots. 83.8% want a break option on the Ring of Recoil. 95.3% want a check option on Crystal and Barrow's equipment. 89.5% want the Motherlode mine to be made bigger, with a separate area that can be accessed by players with 72 mining or above, and that have paid a 100 nugget fee to get in there. 94.9% want Ava to have options for buying multiple devices without having to go through dialogue repeatedly. And finally, 87.7% want boss pets to have their pickup option and their talk to option swapped round so you don't accidentally pick up their pets all the time. So this has been an interesting poll. All of these quality of life updates are passing, mostly with 80% or more. I think there's none of them below 80%. Some of them are even in the 90s. The one thing that isn't passing, however, is the chocolate bunny reward from the Easter event. That's only got 69.9%. Very close to 70, and I can imagine that if it doesn't pass this year, they'll probably try and poll it again next year, or something similar. I think perhaps the issue with a free pet, especially available to non-members, is the fact that you don't really work towards it, whereas most of the pets that we have in game are from bosses, so you really have to be lucky and work towards it. So we've only had 10,535 votes so far, so I can imagine a lot more people voting in this. If you haven't voted yet, please go ahead and vote, but before you do that, make sure you know what's happening in the developer blog, so click here for my video on that. I think that this Easter event will be really fun, and a lot of these quality of life updates have been really nice. It's a shame about some of these items like the pets, but you know what, you can't really argue. This is a community game, and every single update we have is voted in by the community. If an update gets 75%, you cannot argue with it, you just have to accept it, even if you are disappointed. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the old school RuneScape updates, dev blogs, and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching, goodbye.